The Really Good Email Awards. Welcome, everyone. We are very excited. This is the first ever Email Awards, and you might be asking yourself, why are we doing this Email Awards now? So Really Good Emails has always wanted to do an awards, but we never really had the time. We all had full-time jobs. So now that we're acquired by Be Free, we have the actual time to do this. How we picked the winners is we looked at your favorites, all the different emails that you collected, searched for, clicked on. And then we also looked at some innovation and trends. We really tried to find different brands that broke the mold. I'm Matt Helbig. I'm Integrated Marketing Manager over at Really Good Emails and Be Free. And I'll let Logan and Kelsey talk about themselves as well.
Yes, we love talking about ourselves. Logan Sandrock-Baird, I'm the Senior Community Evangelist for Be Free, and sometimes for Really Good Emails as well. And delighted to be here among my magnificent co-hosts and all you marvelous email peeps out there.
Hi, I'm Kelsey again. I'm the Senior Email Marketing Manager at Be Free. I'm so excited to be here. I love looking at beautiful emails, so I can't wait to see who wins.
All right, jumping right in, we have the award-winning categories. We picked 11 different categories. They're the best kind of representation of what we thought was trending on Really Good Emails. And we can actually talk about the ones that we did not cover, but maybe next year we will. So here's some other categories that we did not include in this presentation, but hopefully in 2025, we can also have them. I think for these, we just didn't feel like we had enough submissions or we didn't have enough information, but definitely some really cool trends here that we saw. A lot of B2B education, interactive AI elements. We saw a lot of big trends bumps in something like a restock, replenishment emails, also including recipes in your emails, and always like referral, different milestones, and some loyalty programs. So hopefully next year we can cover a little bit more.
And just to reiterate, kind of your point earlier, Matt, these emails were chosen by you all, essentially, from clicking on them and saving them in Really Good Emails. So if you see stuff that you like, you help make that happen. And if you see stuff that you don't like, you also made that happen. So I think it's just a collective sense of responsibility for what we're celebrating today.
Well, let's get started right up with the first Welcome Email Award.
Indeed. Yes, gentles, I think we can say that right now we are all in the club. And I want to say to you all, we are all fam in this moment. Look, welcome emails are, as I said just moments ago, just such a foundational part of any email program, right? It's not usually the first touch or the first contact that they have with your brand, but it is the way that you make them feel welcome. It's the way that you help set the expectations for what they can expect, cadence, the type of content, and yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Well, we have some honorable mentions here that were close to making the cut, but are not the winners. What elements stood out for you for these ones? We have Going and Lifesome.
Yes, our runners up here. I think both of these share what I think is a really, if not an essential element, just a really important one for any welcome series, which is they have a little progress bar in each of them, which we love. We love to see that because it gives people, it gives recipients a really quick way of seeing what they have coming up. And so it very clearly sets the expectation for what are the other emails I'm going to receive? What are they going to be covering? It assures people that there's a plan, right? We do love that. And so Going has that right there at the very top with a little bar that highlights each one, and then Lifesome with the progress bar, and then also kind of a breakdown of what you can expect coming up. So those are, I think, two just great examples of those elements.
Yeah, for me, these really stood out as welcome email examples. Like you said, Logan, it's the first impression someone has to your brand. These emails also get opened as some of the most out of all the different emails that you're sending. So having something that, is personalized here, bringing in some information and then showing them where they're at during that onboarding process is really a way to make your email stand out.
We're imagining that you're all chanting this with us, right? It was 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Miro. Miro, such a magnificent collaboration tool. And let's dig in briefly to kind of what made this stand out to us the most. So similarly to the two runners up, they also had a quick start and a clear sense of laying out like what steps to expect. They break it down to just 3. We love 3s. I think just as human beings, 3s are easy to remember, and there's a sort of comforting cadence to it. I love their hero image here, which is just essentially a miniaturized version of their app itself. So it already kind of gives you a sense of being in the app. There's a lovely sense of visual cohesion within continuity there.
Yeah, like people are saying in the chat, I love the UI elements here in the hero image. Like,
Yeah.
I think it kind of is a unique part of their brand. Yeah, just really stood out to us. And again, like this is one of the most popular emails that is saved and collected on really good emails. So I think throughout this entire one, they do a really good job of setting the stage for what's next with their brand once you onboard to their site.
And yeah, we can take a little bit of a closer look here. So digging into kind of more of the 3 easy steps. I love these steps as well, right? Like, so one is create your first board. That's pretty straightforward. And the hero image already sort of sets you up for what to expect when you get in there. And then it starts to encourage you to start shaping your ideas by using the tools once you've created that board. And then maybe most importantly, and third, it invites you to invite collaborators. So it's already kind of extending their reach through like encouraging people to collaborate. I mean, essentially it's a collaborative tool, but it's extending the reach of the audience through that welcome email just through a simple step. So I love that. Anything stand out to you all?
Yeah, like one thing that Anne mentioned here, I think that's really important too, is like the use of the live text. So like really making it sure that it's accessible and people know like what their next steps are and what they can do to really get the full use out of the product, I think is really great. Miro does like such a great job, I feel like, of staying really consistent with their branding, like across the whole journey. You're continuing to like grow and get better and get more invested into the brand. Like I love the imagery there.
Yeah, the one thing that stood out to me in that previous welcome email is to also have like really good FAQ calls to action. Like if you're having a problem with the product, contact the support team. So I really like to see that in an email, letting you know that there's actually someone that's willing to reply to you. So that's good to know with SaaS especially.
Yeah, they integrate their products so well in these emails. Even the "What's new, what's next" GIF, which is delightful, is using like a mock-up of their text tool. So they're just very consistent throughout that. Yes.
Cool.
Oh, Dre Thomas makes a good point in the chat. Best thing is if you remove the Miro logo, you'll still know it's Miro, which is great. Yeah.
Exactly. On to the next. We got product launch, the big reveal award.
That's right. Yeah, we love a product launch. We love doing kind of a countdown and reveal. Let's take a look and see what our runners-up are here.
Awesome. We have some honorable mentions here with Freaks of Nature and Google sealing the show.
Sure. Yeah. They both kind of embody what I think is a kind of a core principle for me with a successful email, and which is kind of respect for the time and attention of the recipient, right? They're both brief and to the point. The Freaks of Nature incorporates not just a product image, but kind of a human image using the product, which is great. They're able to kind of fit both of those in. We love kind of a very straightforward blurb, descriptive blurb followed by a strong CTA. And then Google even goes simpler, right? It knows that the people who are interested will click on it regardless of like how well they need to describe it. So they keep the description really brief. They do give you the cost, and then they're encouraging you to pre-order.
I love the big just CTAs right in front of your face. I think it just makes it super clear. Like here's the product, here's the launch, jump into the product. So that's cool to see. And we're going to keep moving to the big reveal. 3, 2, 1. And we got this one from Volkswagen.
I love this email.
Yes. I think as featuring a product. So this is what is so delicious about the way that they chose to approach this, which is by offering the user, the recipient, kind of an immediate point of connectivity and interactivity and choice. They're already inviting the user to imagine what kind they would like, right? So they're already giving them this autonomy and this sense of imagination. I think that carries over so well. Yeah, what do you all think of this initial top? I mean, Kelsey, you gave it away a little bit.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, like the fact that it's so interactive and that you could click and you could change colors, like it makes me want to be like, what else? Like, what else can I do? And so like definitely makes me want to click into it and go to the website and see what other customizations are available. So I think it's a fantastic use of like color and interactivity in order to like get people to click. And, it's not just a boring, here are features email. Like they really took it to the next level, and it's very, very, very creative, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm sometimes a naysayer on interactive email. Sometimes I feel like brands just do it because they want to do it or because, someone told them it was cool. But I really like how easily usable this email is. And I love the CTA colors changing. So just little touches like that, I feel like it actually makes the interactive portion useful and beneficial and
Yeah.
add something to the email.
And we've got a number of people asking this in chat. Yes, it is actually interactive. It's not a GIF. I mean, it's a GIF for the purpose of the presentation, but the actual email itself is clickable. And yeah, here we get to kind of dig in a little bit further. And this really embodies also one of my favorite structures for an email, right? Which is you've got an initial opening blurb and an immediate call to action for people who are ready to kind of jump in without any more information than that. They're excited. They're ready to kind of connect. But then they offer a more detail, more context, not a ton more in this case, but and then as well, like the Explore Features CTA that allows people who, like myself, who I adore more context and more detail, to explore a little bit more. And then you also get a good sense from your audience as to who's willing to make that initial jump and then who wants more. And that lets you segment and create dynamic content for them further down the road that suits them better.
All right. Well, yeah, if you're curious about how this email is made, definitely tap into the code view on Really Good Emails. You can actually explore and see what type of fallbacks, what kind of interactive radio buttons, and how it was made. So always a fun way to uncover how something's made in the background.
Oh, don't leave us. Don't leave us.
This might be an award that my ex should have gotten.
Yes, for re-engagement emails. Now, I want to be clear, we're defining re-engagement a little broadly here. It's not just people who've gone inactive, but all the ways that we try to encourage people maybe who haven't interacted quite as much to interact a bit more. So let's take a look at our magnificent honorable mentions. Yes, Nani and Tillamook, which is also kind of a buddy comedy I would absolutely watch, Nani and Tillamook's Adventures. But Nani is a great non-alcoholic beer. And so for them, they send this email when they have restocked their online store. So it lets people know who are interested. Evidently, kind of these are produced in limited quantities. And so they want to make sure that people who might have wanted to order now have the chance to order. They also give a dual call to action there, which doesn't always work, but in this particular case, gives people the option of shopping online, or if they want to go find their Nani in person, and who doesn't want to find your Nani in person, to find kind of where you can find it locally. And then Tillamook, similar, straight to the point. And it is a survey asking for their preferences. So a re-engagement in the sense of like trying to get people to offer up like what they would like to see from them, and then to be able to tailor their content a little bit more. And both of these, again, I love, short, to the point, respectful of everybody's time and attention. Kelsey and Matt, what are your thoughts?
For me, yeah, if we're looking at the RGE search data, back in stock, restock types emails are definitely a good way to promote a product without having to do like a product launch or like a sale. Gets people back into, re-engaging with your product. And then again, like always, just a quick and easy survey is a great way to communicate with your customers, get some feedback about their product or their experience with their email. So we definitely recommend adding maybe these two types of emails to your repertoire of email marketing.
Especially like when you ask someone to take a survey, like now I'm thinking about cheese again, and now I might want some more cheese. You're reminding them of all the wonderful times you've had in the past. And so I think it's a great opportunity to definitely re-engage. So great job.
And the big reveal for re-engagement is
something always, which feels like a very vague way to answer that question.
I think sometimes always, yeah. I don't know. It's one of the two.
This is an example of an email that could feel very salesy and impersonal, and the way that they've written it, the strength of the copy, and the way they've organized it makes it feel a lot more personal. We noticed you checking out some very nice bottles, and we must say, you've got a great taste. Call us impressed. Now, they could have say like limited quantities, buy now, kind of, and gotten the same point across. But this feels more like a friend letting you know, hey, like there aren't many of these. You should probably jump on this now.
I really like just the very personalized tone. It's kind of like laxed, I guess. It's very casual. Yeah. Like, we noticed you checking us out. Very fun subject line. I think this is another trend that we're seeing with re-engagement emails, of this kind of browse abandon type email marketing, where we're not actually showing you your cart. We're actually just kind of bringing in some other products to maybe recommend to you. So it's hard to know, like, in the flow when this one may be hit, but it can be another way to sort of contact people outside of just the normal abandoned cart that you may see all the time.
To Naomi's comment in the chat, and thank you, Naomi, for tuning in. We yes, for many of these emails, would I love left align text to make it more accessible for reading disabilities? Absolutely, that's absolutely something. But this is what the community has chosen for this time around. And now we can get a little bit fuller view of this. They've got a very strong sense of their own brand style. Their use of color, I think, works very well here, and they keep it pretty simple, right? Like they're just like, here's an initial shop now, and then here's some specific bottles that might be recommended for you to jump into. Not too much to dig into there, really, I think.
Definitely. But yeah, just getting a full view of their brand. I think they just do some really fun stuff. And I think that was an important part with us choosing the awards, is not just picking one email, but kind of looking at the brand as a holistic send and how they do innovate in different types of ways throughout the different emails.
Yeah. Kelsey, what do you think of these?
Yeah, I definitely think this is kind of like a trend that I've been noticing too, is like these really fun fonts and like not sticking to the norms of the 2 or 3 fonts. Like they're really going for it, and they're making it a part of their brand, and creating that visual identity of who they are with their fonts, and like getting fun with it. And I love that. Plus like the interactivity and like the real photography, like they're not using stock photos of people drinking and stuff. It's their brand, it's their bottles, and they're getting like really personalized with it, I feel like.
Well, we got to keep moving. We're moving over to Kelsey's email picks for the awards, and we got some Possum Pet Care Award.
The Possum Pet Care Award. Now we're moving on to pets. These emails had your tails wagging and your purrs whirring. It's really hard to say. But yeah, looking at some pet forward emails, and the honorable mentions are. So we have Ollie and Little Beast. Some of the things that stood out to me, especially when you're talking about like a pet brand, these are part of your family. These are your loved ones, right? So anything that you can do to kind of like emote that emotional feeling. I think the use of like real photography, really having, their pets eating the food and their pets wearing the clothes, like it helps you kind of build that emotional attachment to the email, which I think is really lovely. And then just like great use of color and, keeping it looking real and fresh.
Yeah, pets definitely were a big search term on really good emails, a big increase year over year from 2023. So just really cool to see different emails and types of brands innovating in the inbox, like you said, making it feel a little bit more personalized towards your pet. And I think our winner will maybe reveal that as well.
3, 2, 1.
Sundays. Some might say this is the best in breed for their category. Sundays was like a really nice job of keeping it very simple, very clean, but also really driving you downward and like making you want to read the full message. Again, I think it's something that, we noticed in the beginning too. It's like the real photography with the real product and not using the stock photos. And then again, with the other imagery, like people with their pets, like it's building a community, it's building that authenticity, all the things that we love in brands. We want to see real people wanting them. And another trend that we've noticed too is that ticker tape that get $50 off. That's been something that's been everywhere lately. And so using trends for simple message, I feel like in a way to boost engagement, it's great use of that. And then again, like very simple layouts, but consistent branding throughout. I think they do a fantastic job of who they are when they hit your inbox, right? You see their message, whether it's like a order confirmation or, a welcome message or a sale message, they all kind of follow that same brand guidelines. It could be a very simple message, but they go like the extra mile to make it more personalized, to make it more inviting. The color blocking drives you down the email. So great job. So the Outdoor and Travel Award, these are the virtual voyagers. We're looking for emails within the travel industry. What kind of got us excited about the great outdoors? What's getting us motivated? And so the honorable mentions are Patagonia and Airbnb. What kind of stood out to me with these messages, Patagonia, obviously an apparel brand, but not pushing their apparel in this image. So using emails that are really trying to build that lifestyle, get people excited about travel. And then when you go travel, what are you going to wear? Patagonia, of course. And so they do a really good job of building that lifestyle, growing their community, and getting people excited about the brand and building loyalists. And then similarly with like Airbnb, again, I feel like a broken record, but like, again, with the imagery, using like real people's vacation photos in their messages. It's kind of like that social proof to it, giving you kind of like vacation envy. I love that. Instead of just being like, here are some great places to go, they're really kind of showing you a lot of people having fun on their vacations and giving you that chance to want to dive deeper into maybe a location that they haven't thought about before. Very simple layout, but very strong use of imagery.
The point that you're making about the photography, as you've made the point, kind of several times, it points to this larger trend towards things that are authentic and personal. And generic copy, generic photography, generic illustrations don't connect as well. And so you're connecting more with people when you're using these real photos.
Yeah, I love Airbnb, a very popular search term on Really Good Emails again, just because I think they have so many different types of emails, like these promotional type emails, but again, contacting hosts, contacting people about their stay. So lots of fun, cool examples to look at, a pretty wide email program that is translated in many languages potentially. So just a big email program that's exciting to look at scale. And the big reveal is
the winner is All Trails and Calm. It's a collaboration email. I feel like collaboration emails are a little bit rare, so I love that this one won. It's a great use of an intentional collaboration that does both brands justice, which I think is really great. Again, not necessarily promoting either's brand, but promoting like your well-being, promoting, the idea of the brand. So again, like going into writing an email that's going to build that community, build that lifestyle, and then using personalization and different things further on to really drive down that point.
Yeah, definitely loved how this one is laid out. Like you said, a collaboration post is always cool to see how people do the different brands justice in an email. But All Trails just really stands out as in that travel space, bringing in a lot of different levels of personalization. If it's something subtle, like, as you're saying, personalization is way past, first name or something in the subject line. It's really about bringing in things like these local trails near me or something. So just another way to sort of bring you into their product throughout what feels maybe more like a promotional type of email. All right. And yeah, just looking at all their emails as a whole, again, a very exciting brand with different types of emails, focusing on their product, focusing on, different sales. So just a lot of cool emails to look at from this brand.
Drinks. The Endless Cheers Award. It's such like a lovely name for an award. So these are drinks, all within the beverage categories, looking at what's performed the best.
Yeah, drinks are surprisingly a big category on Really Good Emails for sure.
Is it surprising, Matt?
Hey, people love drinks, I guess.
Do you have a thought about beverages, Matt, that you want to share?
I do. Maybe that beverages could be a scam. I mean, I'm just saying, there's good beverages at home. You don't always have to, drink beverages all the time. But water is the best beverage. I'm just saying. What do you guys think about these emails?
Yeah, Kelsey, what do you think of these emails?
Well, obviously they're a scam. No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually enjoy a beverage. I get thirsty, and thus I like to drink beverages. And so I really love these emails. Like, I feel like beverages in general, they're getting very fun with their graphics, like on the bottles themselves or on their own, packaging. And they're taking it to the next level by bringing that same kind of design element and that branding into their emails. They're always very bright and vibrant and eye-catching. This could be, if you look at Wild Wonder, this could be like a very simple note from the founder, but they use it as an opportunity to really sell their branding and do some fun elements, really large headlines and fun little waves. Another trend that we've been seeing, bored cow again. I love this idea of like a recipe. I think that's a really nice email touch. It's not just like another selling, it's showing you how to use their product. So that is a great email content that I love as well. And so, and then another like trend I've been seeing too is like this little black borders around these emails. And so I think they're doing a really good job following the trends. and then following their own path as well. So
Yeah, I love the color palette for this board cloud one. And I think for a welcome email, the note from a founder is becoming like a bigger type of email that can work well in something like a nonprofit as well. Just bringing in some other personality or storytelling into your brand, letting people know that there are people behind your brand. There's a team of people. There's a founder behind your brand. So just a really cool touch that is interesting to see in this category as well. Drum roll, please.
Tres, dos, uno.
Athletic Brewing. Yeah, again, really strong hero images. I think that's been a trend for like all of these winners that we've seen. Very strong heroes, very large font and headlines that really hook you in. Building upon, like again, like I was mentioning, the branding and building that into the email and building it part of their email identity, I think is really smart. And then yeah, just some really lovely testimonials for that social proof, making you a little thirsty.
Yeah, I love this one, how everything sort of just blends together. They're using, again, some other different trends here, like that back in stock type of messaging up near at the top, bringing your eye throughout that email into like a CTA, and then again, having some of these little testimonial pieces. It's really nice to see that incorporated in this type of promotional email for, a product that you might not always, think is going to have cool emails, but I think they do a really good job throughout their email program of keeping things new and fresh, making things feel a little bit different for the different things they're promoting, if it's seasonality or just different new product launches. They do a really good job.
So consistent with their branding, and not just sticking to a certain very limited brand palette, but really an expansive one, but one that's still so recognizably them in each email. I think they've done by having their logo kind of in that top left section and just having it repeat, kind of regardless of the background. I think that works really well. And they also do very well with quick calls to action, and then a more leisurely call to action, kind of once you get a little bit lower. Would still love to see left align text here, but beautiful emails, absolutely.
We'll transition over to subject lines, which is my pick. So we have the hook, line, and sinker email award that grabs your attention and reels you in. So exciting category. I'm taking a little bit of a detour here, just to talk more about the different trends that we saw from 2023 to 2024. So we took all the subject lines from the previous year and analyzed them against the ones that we saw this year. And here are just some different trends that stood out to us that maybe we'll see a little bit more in 2025. So the first one here is just personalization with a casual tone. This was definitely the biggest trend. It's shifting a little bit more from that formal to friendly. Feels like you're texting someone. It's just a really warm, direct, very human type of messaging in subject lines that I think hopefully perform pretty well. We have the curiosity with intrigue. Again, just this type of mystery. I really like the idea of mysteries to solve with an email, and then sort of you see the subject line, and then the email delivers on that promise of what you were talking about in the subject line. So, and then lastly, we're seeing a little bit different type of timeliness, a little bit softer urgency, less of a ping against that big FOMO, feeling people like they're going to miss out that sale. I think trying to keep things a little bit more gentle in the inbox is always nice to see. So some communication with like things like last chance and things like that are definitely trending on really good emails. So love these ones. Some honorable mentions here. We have Surreal with Can You Guess Our Next Flavor? Again, kind of pinging onto the idea of that mystery, having someone open the email to actually get the reveal. And then here, Starbucks with Friday equals 50% off your drink, creating a way of urgency that, I know that something's coming up on Friday. I'm going to get a promotion, but again, it's not very pushy. Like you're going to miss the sale, and the designs are pretty good too. So
I think Surreal's gets our new flavor and then immediately into a call to action because it engages the terminally curious, of which I think email people are rather incorrigibly curious. So there's that, and then again adding more kind of context below. A great job of using kind of photography that feels natural and but with some playful illustration to kind of hype it up. In that one in particular stand out to me. What about for you, Kelsey?
And I love Starbucks that does the Friday. I mean, from like an email marketing perspective, being able to make sure that your email gets sent on the exact day that you want it to is so tricky sometimes. And so especially when you have a lot of different programs going on. And I imagine Starbucks has a ton of different contacts and users and things like that. And so I think, this is a very smart way to keep people engaged and keep them coming back day after day. And then the use of like you in the CTA, like see you Friday, again, a really nice touch to kind of speak to personalizing it in a way of like they're talking to you, being that informal language that you kind of mentioned too. It's really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, very cool. Like you said too, these are not just shop now CTAs. They add a little bit more intrigue and are a little bit more fun with that little level of personalization. 3, 2, 1, and we have Riel. Very exciting, very popular email on Really Good Emails with the subject line, "We noticed you noticing us, winky face." So just a very casual, fun way to bring people back into the cart in this email, showing off the product that I was looking for and then having a really fun CTA with take another look. So just a very clean email with a lot of different stuff going on. We have a GIF here, that little section, and then just a really polished footer as well with bringing in some different points here to get people to click through if they're not loving the product. So just very nice email and a great subject line that I really enjoyed in my inbox.
Another great use of the ticker tape GIF there at the bottom. And take another look, and then kind of the quick product display, and then right into a kind of a shop now. I think works really well. Again, keeping it very simple, very clean, easy to skim.
And just throughout their emails, I think they do a pretty good job, especially in the beauty and healthcare sector. Sometimes there's very heavy and all image, or the content is a little sparse. So I think they do a nice job of bringing in different elements, trying to balance some text and imagery. And we'll keep moving over to CTA, which is actually kind of one of my favorite awards, the Button Whisperer Award. So it's that CTA that's impossible to resist, drawing readers to take action. So we did analyze a bunch of CTA trends. And again, the most common CTA is going to be a shop now, learn more. Everyone's seen them. They're pretty good. I mean, they'll definitely maybe get you results, but we wanted to recognize some CTAs that maybe stood out a little bit different. So we have a nice little pun here from Goodles, say goodbye. And then I just thought this 1906, sleep with us, we're good in bed. A very interesting combo.
You want to give a little CTAs. Context for that product, Matt?
Sure. So 1906 is, I think, like a CBD type of product that helps with the sleep aid. So just a fun email, good design, nice CTA, caught my eye, stood out from the regular types of CTA. So
both very playful, right? Engaging a sense of play with folks seems so vital in making an email memorable. Solid product shots as well. To Kelsey's point, personal, like not generic.
Mm-hmm.
One other point with Goodles I want to call out is they usually have the fun CTA be the top CTA, and then the rest of the email maybe includes some more traditional CTAs. And I think that's maybe important, just to balance, like not everyone in your CTA needs to be fun and engaging. You can have some safe CTAs that people maybe feel a little bit better about clicking on, but it's still nice to maybe catch people's attention with something a little bit different. But definitely balancing it. Don't want to make everyone in your CTAs crazy and wild and wacky. So
that's right. It's like my therapist tells me, you don't have to be funny all the time, Logan.
Exactly.
It's helpful to know you can have a serious conversation.
Definitely.
But at the bottom, you can have the serious conversation at the bottom.
Yeah. Party in the front, business in the back, or something.
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Big reveal is Fly by Jing, an amazing brand here. Very loud type of email, and interestingly enough, you can't even see the CTA yet. So this is just embrace the scroll, a different type of email, but definitely impactful. Brings in some good points with some storytelling, and then that product imagery catching your attention. So the CTA of the year is Shop Lower Prices, which is, a good way to maybe bring some people in.
Yeah, I think it's kind of nice too that like you can see that they're telling a brand story too, right? Why lower prices, like why we did this. And I feel like for an e-commerce brand, like that's not very common, like where you share and you have that like kind of transparency of like why we're doing this and why we lowered our prices. And any opportunity you have to tell a story that's more than just buy now or shop now or on sale, I think is a great opportunity to help build your brand and build loyalty. And so I think it's a very smart choice by Fly by Jing to do something like that, where they're mixing both brand storytelling with, a call to action that drives sales.
It's such a good point. Yes. Like trying to make it more accessible. To reference, kind of the point you've been making throughout this presentation, real product shot, one that's actually making me a little hungry looking at it. Also, though, a great combination of illustration and photography, which is something that we're seeing and we'd love to see. And then also to speak very briefly to this, like below the fold, above the fold stuff. When we think about the principle behind, above the fold, it's just, we want to make sure that people stay engaged, and putting the call to action high up in the email is one way of doing it, but it's not the only way of doing it. And if you've got compelling imagery or other ways of drawing engagement, then you can absolutely use that. So the above the fold, below the fold thing is not a hard and fast rule. It's more important to understand the principle behind that and try and look for ways to engage at the top of the email to draw the eye downward.
And looking at other types of emails, they do a really good job with CTAs and balancing, like you said, the imagery and copy and the colors. Each of their emails feels like I look forward to opening it. It feels like a little surprise in the inbox, which is kind of the whole thing with really good emails. We want to surprise and delight in the inbox, make it feel like something is worth getting. So
I also feel like they do such a great job with their imagery and the hero that like the image almost becomes the CTA in essence, right? Like that's making me want to click more so than like an actual physical button. And then you can see like the second one, they don't even have a button, but that visual is so nice. It's like, I want noodles, right? And so like you're automatically drawn to it and want to click on it, despite there not being a physical button there, which I think is really cool.
All right, we got the Quiz Whiz Award. So definitely something that we saw, especially in this year, with emails that bring in some type of quiz into the inbox. So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's this type of graphic within an inbox. It's a really fun way to bring in that some interactivity within an email without having to really invest in the big heavy lift that is maybe designing a more interactive quiz in the inbox. So people are they know how to use these type of images. They're familiar with this type of quiz. It's just a fun way to maybe recommend a type of product. And if you see from GUI, like no matter what you pick, you're just getting the product. So just a fun way to maybe position your product in a way that's a little bit different. So both these brands doing a good job with that.
I think just piggybacking a little bit off of your point, that this feels like such a great evolution from the like highly resource intensive, very impressive, but highly resource intensive interactive quizzes that we saw a few years back. And, but this is still serving the same purpose. Again, I love when we're, as you've heard me say, like, I like being able to kind of, pull back the curtain a little bit and see like, okay, what's the thing that propels this into success? And this still draws the eye and gets people engaged, but just at a much lower lift. So we love that because we know everybody's a little starved on resources from time to time. That just happens.
I also think this is like a great opportunity to show more products, right? Like if you have a hero product that is your best seller or things like that, this is a way to show like different variety where, we have these other ones that you might also enjoy based off of, this decision tree. So I think it's just like a really fun way to kind of expand your product assortment and kind of show that in a fun and playful way. I love it.
And the big reveal for this one is one of the more popular emails on Really Good Emails, is this one from Supergoop. So again, just like we had said, very personalized, bringing in some different emojis here, which is kind of fun. But just showing off the different products, bringing you down into some different product details here with some Shop Now CTAs. It's just another good way to bring people in, maybe give them some product recommendations, which you can do with a quiz or maybe like I said, like a more interactive type of email. But this also works and provides a similar level of engagement without having to invest in those more complicated types of emails. And just throughout their emails, I think they do a really good job in the beauty space as well, bringing in different product shots, incorporating some GIFs. You say here in the second example, they're actually using that quiz type of graphic again. So it must be kind of working for them, hopefully. And now it's back over to Logan with seasonal.
Yes, these are our sort of special categories, and yeah, these are the awards for the things that aren't maybe officially like holidays, but like should be or could be, and we want some brands who are like being able to kind of highlight them in very interesting ways. Let's dig in. Yeah, Olipop and Finn. So we've got Finn now. Earth Day is a real holiday, but not maybe one that's like overly celebrated, so they're sort of drawing attention to it in a fun way, highlighting kind of the sustainability And also the point they're making is like, this isn't just about Earth Day. This is about how we are. They're using sort of the holiday as a way of telling their story, to Kelsey's point earlier, telling their story about their brands, which we really enjoy. And then back to school, not a holiday, definitely not for any of the parents out there, but it is a yearly and annual event that is not something that I would typically associate with Cherry Cola, if I'm being honest, but they do such a good job of integrating the idea of back to school with their products, and even with the product photography and the pencils in the background. It immediately helps me make that connection, which is, I think, a bold choice. I love it. What do you all think?
We try to look at different things that people are searching for on really good emails that are not some of the bigger holidays. So when people are looking on how maybe we can do some new type of emails that are not around the traditional spending days, Earth Day was a big one. I think we talked about in some of our design trends, sustainability being such an important piece with some of the different brands that are popular these days. So that's a good example of an email type to send during that time to remind your audience of maybe what your impact is. And then back to school, a non-traditional time. Like I wouldn't always associate something like a soda pop to a type of send, but I think they did a really good job of actually making it relevant, rather than just doing a sale because it's back to school. And I did have a little call out here about Olympics and leap year. They were definitely popular. They don't always happen all the time, so we didn't really want to totally focus on those, but we saw a lot of brands bring in some leap year sales or bring in some Olympic type content. So something that maybe when that pops up again that you might want to think about for your emails.
I don't feel like every holiday necessarily works for every brand, but if you have the opportunity and you could be like creative with it or fun with it or tell a story with it, I think it's definitely worth the try. But don't feel like you have to do something for the sake of, it's a holiday, it's back to school. Let's see how we can force this message into there. So I think these brands do a really great job of utilizing the holiday without it being like too forced.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. All right. The big reveal is Prime Day from Touchland. So definitely a new national holiday is Amazon's Prime Day, if you're not familiar. We definitely see a bunch of brands incorporating Prime or Amazon into their messaging. Even brands that don't have products on Amazon are using this as a way to say, support our small business. And then brands that do are, our products are available on Prime, on Amazon Prime. So it's just a great way to maybe focus around that when customers are willing to spend money, potentially. It's becoming almost like a new type of Black Friday. It's really interesting to see.
What I'm intrigued by in particular are brands who are not on Amazon, not through there, but are leveraging the recognition of Prime Day as a way of encouraging people to shop locally, right? And to shop with smaller businesses. So they're still utilizing the name recognition, but they're directing the attention somewhere where perhaps we might want it to go.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of on that same point, like I don't even see, I mean, they have their logo icon, but not the name there up at the top. And so they're really utilizing the fact that Prime Day instead of their own like brand name, which I think is very interesting, right? And using that recognition there rather than their name. So definitely leaning in towards the fact that like Prime Day is what's getting people to shop and getting people to take action. And so kind of putting themselves as like a secondary almost, I thought was really interesting.
Logan, what else do you like about these emails? I forgot this is your section, by the way. I actually forgot.
Sometimes, Matt, your passion just overwhelms you. And
I know, I just love email that much.
You do. Well, I mean, you're the one who, helps process all of these and puts them together. So I think, I love their use of color. I think that they do such a good job of theming their emails around color. I love a cohesive design. Mm-hmm. They do a great job of incorporating kind of real people holding, kind of using the product. And that is always like, especially for a product that it's like, if you just look at it, you're not entirely clear as to like what you do with it, I think, or at least to my uncultured eyes. So seeing them kind of holding it gives a good sense of like both scale and kind of how people are using it.
All right, we'll keep moving on the last award of the year. And the question is, what is the most creative email that you've seen this year? You saw lots of different brands, types of emails, but creativity is a hard one to judge. So I'm going to give this one to Kelsey to talk about.
Thank you. Thank you. Most creative. The Work of Art Award. So obviously creativity is subjective, but these were what you guys thought were creative. And so we're looking for stunning visuals, innovative designs, and emails that just are beautiful and a work of art.
I truly think email is a work of art for sure. So.
It is. Our honorable mentions are Graza, which is an olive oil brand, and Buoy.
Buoy.
So what I really love about Graza is like it's an olive oil brand. Like they could easily have taken, a boring route, but they choose to be different. They choose to be eclectic. They have really fun visuals. Hand illustrated fonts, like very, very fun, very unique, very specific to them. Bright colors, a really nice use of color blocking, and kind of like breaking the mold of what typical email layout would be, where they have little arrows pointing to a new section and different like words being highlighted. So really fun email, very creative. And same with Buoy, like very in your face graphics, which I always love. And so getting to see the brand really up front, like with the CTA offer on top, I think is a very makes me want it, kind of attention grabber. So great job to both of these brands.
All right, we'll keep moving to the big reveal of the most creative email brand in 2024 is
Armra.
Armra, yes.
Armra.
Oh, apologies. Love it. Again, just like a beautiful creative email, mouth-watering imagery, very, very fun colors and use of fonts as well. Just like a very visually appealing email. Like it does almost feel like a work of art, right? It feels more like an illustration than it does an email or like a magazine even. So just like very well done. One thing that you had pointed out, Matt, was the texture on the button.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of gradient buttons, but I think they did a really good job of matching the CTA to the product here. So as you can see, if you read throughout this email, you get this free. And I thought that was really a way to incorporate both the CTA and the product together. As you can see throughout this email, they bring in some really cool gradients, some glow there on the CTA. So throughout their emails, I think they're doing a really good job of being creative in the inbox, bringing a lot of different design elements. So yes, these are all images, but I think they do a great way of breaking out the inbox, making you feel like there's a lot of different points within the email to engage with. So I think that's why, to me, they're one of the more creative brands out there.
I love how they like break the traditional like blocking of emails too. Like it's not like regimented. It's very like artistic, which is very, very nice to see and very different.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. I mean, that's like the Really Good Email Awards. These are all the different winners that we walked through the different types of emails. So big congratulations to these winners. I think it's a good representation of the different brands that are highlighted on Really Good Emails. And then we just want to say thanks to you all. We wouldn't be here without the emails that you submit and make. So thanks again for making emails actually worth celebrating. There's a lot of bad email out there, to be honest. So it's really great for us to look at your hard work throughout this year. And we just want to say thank you for submitting emails and also making emails actually worth talking about.
Absolutely. And to reiterate for folks who might have joined a little bit late, all of these emails were selected by you all by saving them and submitting them and clicking on them in Really Good Emails. So these were chosen from the most chosen by you. So without you all, we couldn't have done this.
So now it's up to you. Submit your favorite designs to Really Good Emails. If you're curious about how you can end up in these awards and inspire a bunch of email marketers, either your emails or emails that you just find really cool and interesting in your inbox, send them over to us. We'd love to take a look at them and hopefully add them to the site.
And of course, if you would like to create some of your own emails that can rival what we've seen on screen here today, we do have a special offer for folks attending here. It'll be 30 days of free trial for our business and professional plans. It's like $160 in savings. Gives you 30 days to explore, be free, and see kind of how you can craft these things. And I believe we've got a link that we'll be dropping in the chat here to claim that promotion. So please do.
And like, everyone was curious, this is all in a full report that you can download, all the different insights that we shared today, along with some additional notes about all the different things. So definitely give that report a look, share it to your friends and family in this holiday season. Yeah, very comprehensive report that I'm really proud of. So definitely give it a look. And one last thing, Logan.
Yeah.
Gentles. There's more.
Wait, there's more. Gentles, yes, I'm so terrifically excited to announce our Unspam 2025, which we're having at a brand new location. We're going to be going to Baltimore, Maryland on April 23rd and 24th of 2025. We'll be at the Lord Baltimore Hotel, and early bird tickets are on sale now. As of today, you all are the first people to find out. Go check us out, get some tickets, book some rooms in the Lord Baltimore, and we'll have more details. And we wanted to make sure and get this out before the end of the year. We know people have budgets to spend sometimes, or we've had a lot of people just really anxious and excited about wanting to plan their 2025 and make us a part of it, which is heartwarming. We really appreciate that as well.
Yes, and I heard those early bird tickets are limited, so you'll get some savings. Limited.
Yes,
you'll get some savings. So definitely be one of the first ones to sign up for Unspam 2025. I'm excited. Never been to Baltimore. There's a lot of new faces with the Be Free team joining, so it's really fun. I think it would be a fun time. Good party.
Yeah. I mean, I remember attending the first Unspam in, I think, 2018 and really falling in love with it as an event. And now getting to be on the inside and getting to plan it with you all is such a joy. So we're really excited about what we're planning for you all.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today. So maybe we can talk through some of the Q&A questions.
Yes.
We're happy to answer anything here. I will pull up the top voted questions. Here's a newbie question. How does everyone feel about image-based email versus raw text and HTML?
Well, I mean, for a number of reasons, accessibility being kind of foremost, you don't want to do fully image-based emails, right? You want to make sure that it's a mix of imagery and live text, and HTML, so that screen readers can parse that text and read it to people. It also will load more easily in people's inboxes when you're talking about trying to grab people's attention in seconds. If you've got a big image and it's just slow to load, then I'm probably going to click off of something else. I'm going to get bored already because my attention span is very short these days. Kelsey, do you have any thoughts about that?
I think there's a good time and a place, right? Like if there's a very specific kind of, product launch or things like that, where you have a lot of imagery that you want to show, or and that can't be done maybe necessarily with live text, but it's definitely not ideal to do it like every time, but I think every now and then I think it's fine. Definitely for accessibility, for deliverability, for things like that, having live text, having that not always be in an image is the ideal, I would say.
Yeah, live text and HTML is definitely the way to go. I do think like you said, Kelsey, there are time restraints sometimes, or limitations, and you really want to include your brand font or something, and it just isn't going to work. So I think that's when you can maybe utilize image-based. Again, all the emails that we're adding on Really Good Emails, we're always trying to look at something like how it would look on mobile. Is it actually going to be tabbable? Are your CTAs big enough? So just think about some of those things if you're going to do all image, just for whatever limitations you have. But again, live text whenever possible. Do you have any other best practices in terms of creating GIFs for email?
The fewest frames possible to convey the movement, right? Like, so you're wanting to keep these as light as possible so they load really quickly. You're also wanting to make sure that you've got a good fallback for Outlook, or any email clients, the more niche ones that don't display animated GIFs. But yeah, generally, it doesn't take that many frames to convey movement. And it's the movement largely that you're relying on to draw the eye and attention. So I would say that there are some very solid online GIF makers that you can use, as well as I think Canva's got a good one as well. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, like you said, Logan, I think you can do a lot with just a couple frames. I don't think you need to have a whole 40-minute movie in an email. No one's going to watch past like a couple of seconds when you're trying to grab someone's attention in the inbox. So really just using GIF to communicate what you're trying to do, and don't hide information in a GIF. Like, don't make that last frame the CTA or the main message. Try to front load that stuff because, again, people's attention spans are not that high. But again, you can do a lot, and keeping the image sizes down, keeping that quantity down into just the main message you're trying to do is the best way for me to do. So, any idea on the metrics for these emails? We do not. So that's the real answer. It's hard to know like how these emails performed. We can always, just take our best guesses. But sometimes, for some reason, brands are not always willing to share all their metrics. And again, it would be a lot of data to analyze for us to pick through all these different emails.
An excellent thing to clarify. Also really funny, Matt, to me that you picked one that only you could answer, but also the answer is we can't answer it.
Yes, there is no answer. I'll do another one. Can we look into fundraising? Yes, we can. We will. But again, with fundraising as a category, we need fundraising emails to actually talk about. So definitely submit fundraising emails. It's hard for us to get those emails.
It's just like noting there, like Really Good Emails is community driven, right? So the categories that exist, the things there, that's because you all have submitted things that fit those categories. So if you want to see something that you don't see represented here, please submit them. We want to see them. Matt eats them up like a hungry Pac-Man in his inbox.
Yes. If you're ever afraid to send an email to Really Good Emails, just send it to us. The worst thing we can do is say no. What are your opinions on fonts and emails? Our managers told us we need to use Arial since it's a global font, but it's so ugly. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions?
Sure.
Have you heard of Comic Sans?
You can absolutely use web fonts in email. You just have to have fallbacks. That's why there are font stacks. The whole point of font stacks is if you can't find the so for anybody who's not aware, you can have in the CSS for an email, when you define fonts in the email, you're usually defining it in a stack, right? Like, so you've got, and the code, it'll look for that first font. If it can't find the first font, it'll go to the default to the next one and the next one and the next one. And so at some point, you're probably going to have Arial in that stack. That's at least for any kind of like sans serif font. But for the emails, the email clients that support web fonts, that's great. You can also experiment with others. So when we're saying global font, we're talking about system fonts, right? We're just talking about fonts that we know are consistently installed on people's machines by default. And then the web fonts are there for email clients that support web font calls. And then if you have a special brand font that you want to make sure that you include, but isn't one of those things, then you can include it as an image, right? And that's a great use of text and imagery but I would say limited content for that, right? Using limited content for just like a quick headline as an image, and then backing it up from there. Yeah, that would be my thought for you. Kelsey, any particular thoughts about this as well?
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. But Arial is definitely not the only global font, even if that is the route, the route that you want to take. There are some much, more visually appealing ones. You can mix it with, a serif and a sans serif, kind of combine it to create some visual, interest there. There's different things you could do if those are your limitations. But definitely don't feel like you are limited.
Try to include web fonts. If they're not supported, then it's Arial. So you might as well figure that out. And then also, you got to look at your list too. You got to consider what kind of email clients that are, the people are opening your emails on. So if you have a big WebKit like an iOS open rate, for that email client, then it's worth including web fonts and then having some fallbacks. It's a good question. Thank you.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, absolutely.
Footer guidelines. Any opinions, resources? Footer.
So footer guidelines. So I feel like there's the footer information that you always have to have, right? But then, like,
and what are those? Just to be clear for the audience.
Like your unsubscribe links, your copyright, things like that need to be there. But I think thinking about what your audience is, your targeting, your segmentations and things like that, that's where you can get a little bit, have different footers and information based off that audience that you're targeting. So that way they don't feel like they're a little bit of everything everywhere. And so that like when you're targeting maybe just your prospects or maybe like new users or new customers or things like that, you have special things that you want to make sure that they see. Or if you have, you're sending something to your engaged audience, what are those specific things that will take them to the next step? And so just being thoughtful about your footer and what you're showing consistently. But yeah, you don't have to do it always and have that be the footer that you use for everything.
Yeah, I would say people try to add a lot to the footer. They include social links, they include a lot of different stuff. Obviously, unsubscribe link, which is legally required. But I think you can do a lot of fun things in the footer, which is looking at what your customers are usually clicking on throughout your website, and then adding these kind of quick links to your footer. And then look at the data, look at the metrics. If no one's engaging with a specific CTA at the footer, then maybe take it out. So just because you have a CTA, set in stone, I think there's a lot of A/B testing or type of thing to optimize that footer throughout your email program that you can maybe do.
Yeah, with footers, you're catching the folks who are scrolling to the very bottom of the email. So that's good. We love folks who scroll all the way to the bottom of the email. But with email, you're always wanting to limit the choices that you're offering your recipient at any given time. You're wanting to limit those choices to what moves the needle for you. And so there are things that I think we've sort of standardly seen in footers that may or may not make any difference whatsoever, and just introduce an additional element of choice. So I've shifted over this over the years. Like, I'd be very thoughtful about what you put in there, and I would try to keep it as clean as you can while still incorporating all the elements that are important to you.
And also making sure that you update it, because you never want
also very
broken links in the footer for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we have a new one here, which Kelsey, I'm going to throw to you because maybe you've had a little bit more experience on this, but what do you suggest for intervals of time in between emails for massive mailing programs?
Ooh, massive mailing programs. I mean, how massive are we talking? Like hundreds of thousands of people?
Let's say like 20 million.
20 million people. The entire universe. When you're mailing a larger audience, I think it's important to think about your strategy of like, does everybody need this message? Obviously, right? That's step one. If there's contacts within your audience that are consistently unengaged, consistently not opening your messaging and things like that, it's probably a good idea to kind of limit those people from entering that, because that is going to have an effect on your deliverability. So when you're thinking about intervals of time and sending this, you're thinking about your deliverability. You're thinking about things like that. And I assume that's what the worry here is. And so being thoughtful about your audience, like, does it need to be massive? One, is there segments that we can do where we can segment out some of the unengaged or the inactive users? Step one. Step two, as far as like timing goes, I like to send things over time. So a lot of ESPs and different things like that have the feature where you can send over time. And so that's not just blasting out to everybody. But otherwise, I mean, it depends on what the message is. If it's something that's not necessarily timely, like an event promotion or things like that, you can send you could batch it out over days as well. And so, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. If it's like a newsletter or things like that, you can send it out over the course of a few days if you're worried about the list size. But, if you have a strong reputation and you consistently send to that size audience too, I don't think you have much to worry about just because, your IP is like known for that volume and you've already kind of been consistently mailing to that. So.
Yeah, I've worked on some email programs where we had suppressions to make sure no one would get more than one email message a day. So maybe that's something to add in. But like you're saying, Kelsey, send as many emails as your audience is willing to engage with and test that over time. Like maybe 3 times a week is what your audience really is opening and clicking. So I think it really is relevant for different brands. There's not like a universal answer, I don't think. So here we go. Is there a free to use program to test email's accessibility score, color, text, talk, etc.?
I can't speak to kind of free to use. There are a number of great platforms, Inbox Monster, of course, Litmus, Sync, Parcel, all, kind of allow you to test email accessibility. And a number of them I know kind of have trials that you can, kind of test out. And then there are great online programs that I don't have referenced right here, but that allow you to check like color contrast and accessibility. and legibility that are kind of usually kind of a mix of kind of web and email accessibility checks. And I usually use a mix of those. Any
Definitely.
other
I think
thoughts
there's
about
an
that?
opportunity too to maybe even like use ChatGPT to get feedback on your email or ask it, it for some different accessibility stuff too. But yeah, it's a combination of tools for me at least to look at some of that stuff. And again, testing, opening your email on some of those devices that you're looking to target. All right, we have another one here, another one that I might only be able to answer. But what criteria do you use to determine an email that you're picked on really good emails? So we do have a list of the different things that we're looking for. But again, I think the biggest hurdle that people get over is adding so much to an email that it starts to lose focus. So
Mhm.
I feel like pixels are free. You can add as many as you want. But when an email is so lengthy and it doesn't have a clear direction, it doesn't answer a problem that a customer is having. When it's only promotional, it's only sales heavy type of email, it's not as interesting to us to actually feature on the site. So we try to look for emails that have personalization, balance, live text and imagery, have good design, good copywriting. So it's lots of different factors. But the main thing is thinking about like, is this solving a problem that my customer might be having with this email?
I've always heard image heavy emails end up in the spam folder. Is that truth or myth? Ooh.
I mean, I do have an answer for this, Kelsey, not to step on your answer,
Go ahead.
but
Go ahead.
I was going to say, once upon a time, right? So this is the thing about spam filters. They're not static. Like the people monitor, like setting up those spam filters, they're dynamic. They change over time based
Yep.
on the changing the changing tactics of spammers, kind of or just kind of ignorant folks. So once upon a time, that was true. Image heavy emails ended up in spam folders. These days, it is so much more just about sender reputation, right? It's about sender reputation and whether or not you're like sending from a consistent, kind of from name, whether or not people recognize your email or save it as a contact. That's going to influence your deliverability and keep you out of the spam folder. And you do that by sending relevant emails from a consistent source, so that you become a trusted source for those emails. So yeah, we can say that at this point in time, myth.
All right. Well, this one is around the choose your adventure type quiz emails that we had shown. How does this maybe function on mobile if it's only images? So for me, I mean, you can design a different mobile view and display that image. Again, there's not a lot of tapping and clicking in these types of quiz emails. That's why they're a little bit easier to make. But you can do a really fun scrollable sort of type of graphic on mobile that would work well. That still includes some of those quiz elements. So that's
Yeah.
my answer.
Yeah, just like creating a secondary image for those, or if you're kind of a secondary element that is mobile only and is just streamlined a bit, would absolutely be the way to go. Or if your main one is legible and you're testing it and you're seeing that the main one is still legible on mobile, then you're fine, even if it's scaled down.
Definitely. Well, I am not qualified to answer this one, but what ESP of choice do you have? I feel like it is so dependent on your brand and the data that you have and the number of contacts that you may be wanting to email. Very dependent on a lot of different factors.
The answer in email that we both embrace and sort of start to hate after a while is it depends.
It's
And this is,
complicated.
yeah, it really just depends on the needs of your brand. And so I would look for, something you can check for is like see who your competitors are using. That should be at the bottom of most of their emails. And if that means that, because that might indicate that ESP caters to your particular vertical's needs. So that's a good way of kind of at a glance, at least.
Yeah. And we do put out a survey that shows people's kind of happiness with the ESP that they're using. There are some ESPs that people are less likely to like.
Yeah. And sadly, the ESP is the most changed tech stack every year. So definitely do your research and try to most replaced tech stack. So definitely do your research and try different things and do some demos and see. Don't take anybody's word for it necessarily.
What are some best practices for pre-header preview text? I know the Apple update recently has maybe changed a little bit of that preview text, but do you have any expert opinions, Kelsey, from your email background?
Yeah, obviously things are going to change maybe. So, it's hard, but I feel like pre-header text and preview text is where I like to get a little bit more fun kind of like tease a little bit more of like the message within there. But keeping it short, it doesn't show up. Too many characters don't show up on your preview within your inbox. Emojis usage within the pre-header text I've seen a lot more of, and that kind of draws my eye a little bit more, because a lot of times the pre-header text is just plain text, and so that's a great opportunity to, if you don't necessarily use emojis within your subject line, pre-header might be a great opportunity to kind of spice things up. I think pre-header and preview text is where you can get fun with it.
Yeah, I think it should support the subject line whenever possible, and sometimes I can preview the content, but I like when pre-headers kind of add a little bit more value and not just talk about just what's in the email. So, because you are the funniest person here, Logan, is there a fine line on using humor in email if your brand tone is very professional?
Look, very professional humor is just dry humor, honestly. Like, I think if you want to stay very professional, but like with a little bit of a wink, I'll shout out someone who I think so highly of and who does an excellent job of talking about this, and that's Liana Patch and her agency, Punchline Copy. She does a magnificent job, and she's got like some courses available on how to incorporate humor into your email, kind of no matter your brands. So I would definitely recommend you to her. That's Liana Patch and Punchline Copy. If you just Google them, that will take you right there. No matter how professional, like you want to use humor around things that aren't deeply important. Like if you're like a pharmacy sending out emails about pharmacy refills, you probably don't want to be too humorous about that. But if there are in-jokes about your industry that you think, like you're a B2B industry and you want to just reference, kind of something that is common to a common foible, a common challenge, right? So we make jokes about Outlook a lot because it is hugely common, but also complex and kind of a pain in the butt. And so that's something that we can kind of incorporate without looking unprofessional, honestly. So, but yeah, I would say like tend towards a drier tone of humor.
Yes, good advice. And there's an unspam talk about humor from Liana Patch as well. So definitely give that a watch. I think we are done today. Thanks you all for attending so much. Hopefully we answered all your questions thoroughly. Yeah, see you at Unspam. We're very excited about the event. Buy your ticket early, soon and often. So thanks again for joining today. And thanks again for sending in emails. Like we said, it wouldn't be possible without the emails that you submit and work hard on. So thank you so much.
Yes, so very grateful to you all. Thank you all.
Bye.
Have a lovely rest of your day.